see an easy way to turn that around. Maybe.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning. Good morning.
Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, I did. Great weekend.
We're 45 seconds early for the record. I just want you to know that.
Good morning. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning and welcome to the October 11, 2021 meeting for the Board of County Commissioners for Shawnee County. My name is Kevin Cook. I serve as the chair this year, also representing District 2. Joining me this morning is Commissioner Bill Rippon, representing District 1. Good morning.
Good morning.
Commissioner Aaron Mays, representing District 3. Good morning.
Good morning.
Madam Clerk, our first item.
First item is item 3, consent agenda.
There is one item. Is there any question or is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Reflect that it passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item 4, new business A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, this morning we have vouchers totaling $824,526.47. A couple of items of note on there under County Project to Gray Shift LLC for $18,000 is for an encryption code breaker software for the Sheriff's Department. Under Equipment Fund to Shawnee Mission Ford, $164,544 is for 4 2021 SUVs for the Sheriff's Office. Under Federal Grant for Shirley Construction, $32,402.70 is for the Crossover Tennis Bathroom upgrade. And then under Sheriff to Doug Rickert Body Shop for $13,165.20 is for the repair of a vehicle. I don't have any questions about any of this, and I would move for approval.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Mays.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Reflect that it passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Reflect that it passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item B, Planning Department number 1, public hearing and consider approval of resolution number 2021-72, the rezoning of 20.06 acres at the northwest corner of Southwest Urish Road and I-70 from Residential Reserve District to Planned Unit Development District for administrative office and educational uses.
Good morning, Commissioners. Randy Anderson, Planning Department. First item up was filed by the villages. The property is located, well, go back. Property is located at the northwest corner of Urish Road and Interstate 70. They want to request an amendment from RR1 to PUD for the purpose of building an administrative building that would have classrooms for students who are part of the villages program. This so you have an idea who the villages are. They're a nonprofit agency who has 7 group homes for youth, 5 are in Topeka, 2 are in Lawrence. They provide 24/7 care and support for youth who occupy each of these homes, and they teach independent living skills and educational skills to prepare them for going out into the real world. And the property here, you see the property, it's right at that corner like I was speaking about. The Kansas Historical Building is located to the east, the highways to the south. The villages themselves own all the properties to the immediate west and to the immediate north. There's a neighborhood to the north of the village's property where people do live on those properties. So you can see, even though it's zone RR1, it may not be the best zoning or the best use of that property for residential uses, given the fact that you have all these churches and the highway and the historical building to the east. It might be a better purpose for it to be kind of educational or an office purpose type use. Here's the notice area that we sent out. You see the property is right on the border of the city of Topeka. Most of the property, like again to the west, you see if you look at those notes, it's all owned by the villages to the west, northwest. They do have their 5 group homes are located to the 2 lots to the west on this property where my cursor is highlighted. So we did send out notices to all these people, and we heard from no one. There was nobody who spoke in favor or in opposition to the request or appeared at the Planning Commission public hearing. Here's a look at the subject property. Look real close, you'll see, this cursor's not good. Right in the center here, where my cursor is, there's that's the building that's proposed. It's 22,000 square feet. Again, administrative offices and a classroom. There's an athletic field to the north. You can see the little panhandle of land that the villages owns between this subject site and the neighborhood to the north of the property. Have a stormwater detention area south of the parking lot and the septic field to the west of the building. Because this property is in the 3-mile area, the city of Topeka was involved in the review. I can tell you the city is not requesting annexation. It doesn't fall within one of their primary areas that they consider annexing into the city. One of the reasons why is because the nearest sanitary sewer is located to the south. To extend it to the north would be a crossing of Interstate 70 to get it across the overpass. Right now, that's not in the plan. They don't see it in their plans for the future. So they have granted a wastewater waiver because of that to allow septic service as proposed. The city will provide water service, so this building will have adequate fire protection and it will have city water. And it is concurrently being platted with the city, contingent upon the outcome of the zoning matter. Again, we had no people from the public speak in opposition or in favor. The commission believed that the request did satisfy the golden factors and it does satisfy the purposes of the zoning and the comprehensive plan for this area. So the commission, by a vote of 6-0, recommended approval subject to the 4 conditions in your resolution. I'd be happy to go through any of those conditions if you need any additional information after you've conducted your public hearing.
Motion to open public hearing.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed, reflect that it passes 3-0. Commissioners, are there any questions of Mr. Anderson regarding this proposal?
Randy, on that plat, could you go back to the plat?
Yes.
What was the purpose of leaving that panhandle, that this portion on the west?
Well,
what was it excluded from?
Let me show you a bit better by looking at this. They do have this additional land out over here. So this provides them another way into the property. If they were to divest or do something else with this property, they have 100, I think it's 100 feet of width where they could provide an access drive in through there or a street.
Okay. Enough.
Any other questions for Mr. Anderson? Are there any individuals wanting to speak in favor of this proposal?
Good morning. My name is Steve Lacoste from TGB Group, a consultant who works for the villages. I'm here. I don't have a presentation. I'd like to thank the planning director and his staff for their efforts in helping us get to here. And we do have the director of the villages here if you have any questions of them as well.
Any questions?
No.
I don't think so. Thank you. Are there any other individuals wanting to speak in favor of the proposal? Any individuals wanting to speak in opposition? Pleasure of the commissioners.
I would move that we close the hearing and approve the resolution.
Motion to close the public hearing and approve the resolution by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed, reflect that it passes 3-0. And thank you very much. Our next item.
Item B2, consider approval of a preliminary final plat to create 2 lots at 14033 Northwest 74th Street, located in Rossville Township, Zone Rural Agricultural District.
Thank you again, Commissioners. Randy Anderson, Planning Department Director. This is another one of those situations where we had a zoning violation where somebody built a residence, then a garage followed, and the garage was converted to a home, and then they need to split the property to ensure each property is on its own separate lot. So that's the purpose. You see on the preliminary plat, the location of the existing buildings on the property. Each one of these, as they will subdivide it, will comply with the subdivision regulations and with the zoning regulations. So they will be completely in compliance with all the county regulations if approved. There's your final plat. So we're looking for your approval of a preliminary and final plat to establish this property. The Planning Commission found that the property to be platted would comply with the subdivision regulations and the zoning regulations, and recommended approval 6-0 as submitted. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions regarding this item?
None.
Then, is there a motion to approve the preliminary final plat?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Reflected it passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item B3, consider approval of resolution number 2021-73, a continuation of Home Rule Resolution 2015-91 to include updates to the original repetitive loss area analysis.
Thank you again, Commissioners. Randy Anderson, Planning Department. This is a housekeeping matter resulting from the CRS program again, like we've been doing for the last couple of months. We're checking the boxes to make sure that the city or the county is compliant with all the requirements. This property is located at 6420 Northwest 86th Street. The property that's in question is these buildings right here located just east of Landon Road in the Little Soldier Creek. This home was built in 1980, 2 years before the city, or the county went into the National Flood Insurance Program. So it was built in complete compliance with all the regulations that were in effect at that time. Since then, there's been some repetitive loss claims that have been made on that property by the owners of the property. When the county went into the CRS program back in 2011, the county was required to complete a repetitive loss report, which is what we attach with the resolution. It's an engineering analysis, technical analysis that explains, the current conditions. It shows the property as it existed at that time. Absolutely nothing has changed on that property. There hasn't been any mitigation projects proposed by the state, by FEMA, or by Public Works. So everything is as it was when the repetitive program or plan was approved. One of the requirements of FEMA is that the county, every 5 years, re-adopt the resolution that approved or that adopted the repetitive loss program. So right now, what we're doing today is just to continue the resolution from 2015, I believe is the year it was adopted, and to carry it on for the next 5 years. If something were to change, if the levee system were to be accredited, or there was some kind of floodplain project that mitigates the property's zoning or the flood zoning, we would come back to you and either amend the plan as necessary, or we might take the property out of this plan and rescind it if that were to be the case. But for right now, there's nothing on the works in the next 3 to 4 years that we know of that's going to change this. So we're asking you to re-adopt the original resolution.
Questions for Mr. Anderson?
I have some questions. So the tan area is the floodplain, not the floodway, right?
Right.
And when this house was built, it was out of the floodplain at that time, and did the floodplain?
It was probably in the floodplain at the time, but because we weren't in the program and the county wasn't as sophisticated in looking at these kind of things back in 1980 as we've become, since we've become a member of the flood insurance program, it slipped through the cracks, or maybe it's possible the map could have been amended. I don't know what the circumstances were from 1980, but it was missed by the applicant. There was no county process at the time to review permits. We didn't have that in place. They did build some kind of a low level levee around the perimeter of the home. It didn't hold up in the 2005 flood, and they did incur some losses. There right now, and we're required to notify them every year that they're in that repetitive loss area, and we provide them tips and things they can do to help mitigate the situation. But right now, the status quo is not proposed to be changed by any regulatory agency or by the homeowner. So that's why I wanted to show you this map, because it is right now it's the only one we have in the county that's in this situation. So that's a good thing.
All right.
So.
Any other questions? Then I will move for approval of the Resolution 2021-73, which is a continuation of Home Rule Resolution 2015-91. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, reflected it passes 3-0. Thank you. Our next item.
Item C, Noxious Weed Department number 1, consider approval of request for the sole source purchase of 1 roadside spraying unit from Fairbank Equipment utilizing Weed Department capital outlay funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Landon, Shawnee County Weed Department. As the clerk said this morning, I'm here requesting a sole source purchase of a roadside spray unit from Fairbank Equipment. By using Fairbank Equipment, it will keep all the equipment consistent with the remaining parts of the fleet. As you know, Fairbank built 2 of our sprayers last year. This will also allow us to keep just existing parts, just the few parts that are for those trucks. The integration between the fleet management system and the sprayer controls that tracks where we apply herbicides at will integrate well with it. I believe that's kind of the nuts and bolts of this thing. We will be, by allowing us to, by approving this today, you'll secure a spot this winter and allow us to have it built this winter, and funding will be supplied in 2022.
Questions for Mr. Landon?
I'll move for approval.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Sorry. Are these sprayers part of like a statewide cooperative bid or anything like that?
They are not. They're custom built to specifications.
Okay, all right. I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, reflected it passes 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Our next item.
Item D, Health Department number 1, consider approval, authorization and execution of contract C 344-2021 with Hickok and Associates LLC to provide laboratory director services at a cost of $650 per month from November 1, 2021 through October 31st, 2022, to be paid from tax allocation and program fees.
Good morning, Commissioners. Carrie Delphs, Clinical Services Division Manager with the Health Department. This morning, we're asking you to allow us to renew our contract with Hickok and Associates to provide those lab director services. This is a required position for our operations at our 10th Street Clinic. They help us with our quality control, maintenance, and then proficiency testing for our nurses. It's included in our 2022 budget, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Carrie?
I'll move to approve.
All second. Motion to approve by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, reflected it passes 3-0. Thank you.
you.
Our next item.
Item E, Public Works number 1, consider approval of resolution number 2021-74, assessing delinquent sewer maintenance fees.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works. This is my annual request to convert delinquent sewer maintenance fees. This year we have 9 parcels that are delinquent, but this request converts those delinquencies into a statutory lien against the property. It's important to note that these fees are the primary source of revenue for the sewer district. As you know, our sewer districts 65, which is Deerbrook, 2, 6, and Sherwood, are maintained by the city of Topeka through contract. And we are billed quarterly for those maintenance fees. And these sewer maintenance fees that are assessed against the parcels provide the primary income against those expenses. With that, I look forward to your questions.
Questions? I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, reflect that it passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item F, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider approval of request to solicit bids for janitorial services for 8 parks and recreation locations.
Good morning, Commissioners. Randy Luby, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation. Give you a brief history regarding our community centers. Many years ago, we had it contracted out to different janitorial services. At that time, we thought we could do it cheaper and save some expense by doing it in-house with intermittent employees. This past year has been difficult with finding employees to do this job. So we'd like to just go out and experiment the cost again to just see what it would cost to have a professional janitorial service do the work. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Questions for Mr. Luby? Motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, reflect that it passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item F2, consider approval of 2 change orders per contract C-121-2021 with Field Turf USA, Inc. for Lake Shawnee Softball Complex upgrades to include turf in bullpens, installation of foul poles, and moving irrigation for a cost of $38,864.63, utilizing the project's contingency.
Again, good morning, Commissioners. Randy Luby with Parks and Recreation. The first change order to provide turf for our bullpens, something we wanted to do inadvertently. It was left off the bid sheet, and we'd like to take advantage of them being there to do that. And the foul poles and irrigation line, on field number 1, we need to do this. When they line up home plate, a lot of times the current foul poles may not be in line with exactly where it needs to be. So we'd like to get them changed as well. Be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Questions for Mr. Luby? Motion?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, reflect that it passes 3-0. Our next item.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Item F3, consider authorization and execution of contract C-345-2021, the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Park Project Agreement, referencing the previously awarded National Park Services Land and Water Conservation Grant Fund project at the Crossover Tennis Center.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Laurent, Director, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation. So on July 19th of this year, you approved an agreement with Shirley Construction to go ahead and start the process of the Crossover restroom renovation. What we're doing here today is just finalizing this agreement with Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
On the contract, it indicates the project period June 9, 2021 through September 30, 2024. Are we anticipating this being a 3-year
No,
project?
we're not. No, I don't know why it says that. I think that the last we heard, the thought was that they'll be done before the end of this year.
Okay,
So that's the plan.
all right. That was a question that had,
I actually saw that too. I'm not sure why that's there, but we've been obviously in constant contact with Shirley and Topeka Tennis Association, and so it's our understanding this will be done before December 31st.
okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, is this a 50/50 grant? Waterland
It was, I believe it was 50/50. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Motion?
I'll move for approval.
Second. Motion to approve by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, reflect that it passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item G, Audit Finance. Number 1, update on revenues and expenditures as of September 30, 2021.
Good morning, Betty Griner, Director of Administrative Services, here with our financial overview as of September 30, 2021. We will start with revenue. Our year-to-date revenue as of September 30 was $103,562,427. That is $129,000 under budget, which is a lot of money, but as a percentage of our total revenue, it is a small variance. It is 0.12%, so about 0.1%. So, very close to budget on our total revenue. This chart just shows the different categories, and I will go through each category individually. Our first category is property tax revenue. We received $83,320,647. That is $221,000 over budget, so right on budget there. Next category is other tax revenue, $13,580,051. That is $524,000 over budget, and that is mostly attributable to motor vehicle. Next is charges for services. Received $4,711,816. That is $152,000 under budget, and most of that is attributable to Department of Corrections, and they have had less revenue come in from other sources for keeping inmates. The last is other revenue. Received $1,949,913. That is $722,000 under budget, and excuse me, as we've talked all year, most of that is from investment income because the rates went down so much after this had been budgeted, and then also rental income. So here's our pie chart. It shows 80% of all of our revenue has come from property taxes. Other taxes at 13%, charges for services 5%, and other revenue is 2%. Now, as we move to the expenditure side, our year-to-date expenditures through September 30 were $84,222,871. That is $3,435,000 under budget. And this chart shows the different categories and how they stack up, literally. And I'll go through each one. I will say, though, even though we are $3 million under, I do not anticipate that will last or that will stay there for the remainder of the year. We do still have a whole quarter after this for expenditures, and as we know, some of these departments, especially the two that are under budget the most, will have year-end expenses. So our first category is law enforcement. They have had expenditures and encumbrances of $39,270,639. That is $2,909,000 under budget, with the DOC being $1.6 million and the sheriff's office being almost $1 million. And like I said, these two departments, as we know, will have expenses throughout the rest of the year, especially the sheriff's office routinely has a lot of expenditures towards the end of the year that I'm sure this variance will not remain there. On the DOC, as we mentioned to you last time, they have had some large medical expenses that we have not received the invoices for yet, so that will make a big impact on that. The next category is recreation, and we spent $12,632,624. That is $216,000 under budget, and that's primarily from Parks and Recreation. Next is Public Works, and this is for the general fund only. we've spent $6,689,908, and that is right on budget. I'm showing it 77,000 under budget, but it's really spread among all of those departments, so not a large amount in any one department. Public health is $7,418,822. That is 3,000 over budget, and that was attributable to some extra expenses we had with the coroner's office. Administrative services, $10,008,516. That is 235,000 under budget, and most of that is, general expenses is 164,000 under budget, and then the rest of it is spread among the different departments. And the last one is debt service. We have spent $8,202,363. That is right on budget, and that is all of the debt service that we will have for the year, because the interest and the principal has been paid for the entire year. So this chart just shows the different categories and how they stack up next to each other. And this is our pie chart that shows 46% of our expenditures were for law enforcement. Recreation is next with 15%. Public Works is 8%, and as I said, this is just for the general fund portion. Public Health is 9%, and that again is just for the general fund portion. Administrative Services is 12%, and debt service is 10%. Since we do have another quarter of expenditures coming and all of our debt service is paid, that expense percentage will go down through the rest of the year. Now, since it's the end of the quarter, at the end of the quarter, I usually show you how much we've spent in Public Works through all of their funds. This shows you the different funds and sources listed. So the total that we have spent on Public Works is $13,365,348, and you can see only 36% of that was from the general fund. And then the same thing with Parks and Recreation. This is from all the funds. We have spent $15,254,340, and that is 77% of that is from the general fund. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? No? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
This is an opportunity for any department head or member of the public to address the commission on any item.
Good morning, Commissioners. Randy Luby, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation. I do want to just take the time to remind everyone that Sunday, October 17th, is the Ted Inslee Appreciation Day at the Lake Shawnee Garden House from 2 to 4. It's regular open house, and at about 2:45 we'll have a few speakers that will talk about Mr. Inslee.
All right.
Just welcome you all there.
Thank you. I think we're all looking forward to being there.
Great.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kellen Seitz, Spectre Venue Management, the Stormont Vale Event Center. We have been extremely busy over the past few weeks, and there's really no end in sight until about the Thanksgiving holiday. We finished up last week with a great concert for Casting Crowns. Had about a little over 3,700 paid ticket purchasers for that event, and brought in some really good revenues. This week, we just finished up 3 days of Professional Armed Forces Rodeo in Landon Arena. Their event attendance on Friday was about double what they had in 2019, so very happy about the success of that. This weekend coming up, we have Alice Cooper on October the 16th. The following weekend, Teresa Caputo comes to the building on October the 24th. Weekend after that, we've got trunk or treat, as well as an indoor haunted house in Landon Arena. And then we go straight into arena cross, demolition derbies, and then hopefully we can settle down and have a little break around the Thanksgiving holiday, and then get right back after it again. So just wanted to update you. It's a very busy week and busy month going on at the building, and if you're looking for any sort of entertainment, I guarantee we have it any weekend coming up in the next 2 months.
Great. Thanks, Kellen.
Good morning, Carrie Dels with the Health Department. Just wanted to spread the word that we are offering flu vaccines again this year. We encourage everybody 6 months and older to receive the vaccine, and ideally before the end of October, but we will continue vaccinating through flu season. We are offering these at 2115 Southwest 10th Avenue, and individuals can call 251-5700 to schedule their appointment.
Thank you very much. Any other administrative communications this morning? Commissioner Mays, anything?
Well, I had the opportunity to attend the United Way Golf Tournament on Friday for the county, and so I wanted to thank the organizers of that event. I know Parks and Rec played a pretty significant hand in that. Randy, I think, was kind of the key organizer there, and then also I want to thank the employees that were actually working at the event too. So Amanda Monholland, Stephanie Kuhlman, and Jennifer Sauer were all there all day, collecting money and organizing prizes and all that. So good. It was a good event.
I thank the people that donated the gifts too, and
Yes,
the
absolutely.
door prizes, raffle prizes, and that was good from all the community support.
Yep.
Commissioner Rippon?
This weekend, I attended the funeral of Gary Westfall. He was a long-term Park and Rec employee. He was our HVAC expert and put in a lot of good years and good friends. So hate to see him go, but it was a state to see him go.
Yeah, thank you for doing that.
Okay.
I attended the final Garden Glow on Saturday night, and it was a steady stream of people from beginning to end, and just a very good attended event in the community. So I want to thank Parks and Rec for all that they did, and strong finish for that event. Our next item.
Item 6, executive session.
There's not a need for an executive session today. We are adjourned.
Yes, you do, sir.
One to sign.